How can Capcom improve Resident Evil Code Veronica with a potential remake? Greetings, I'm Les, and today I wanted to talk about exactly that. What is my wish list for a potential Resident Evil Code Veronica remake? So let's start by saying nothing is official right now. And yes, I know you've seen IGN, I know you've seen other people confirm more Resident Evil games in the work, and Code Veronica was probably one of the things that you saw confirmed, alongside pretty much everything. So, as of now, nothing has been confirmed yet. These articles and these quote-unquote rumors, which, by the way, like I said, they're not even rumors, it's just made-up stuff. They're not real. They're just attention-seeking behavior. The person that pretty much said this stuff pretty much confirmed, quote-unquote, every game is in the works, like including RE0. But yeah, none of that is real. It's all speculation, and if it does happen, it'll be a coincidence. So yeah, to know official news, please only follow the Capcom pages and the Resident Evil pages. Everything else, it's just people seeking attention. Anyway, how can Capcom improve the gameplay of Resident Evil Code Veronica? In my opinion, after having played the game a few times throughout the years, in the past 20 years, I can safely say that this game definitely needs an update, and it would benefit the most from a remake. Let's start by talking about the story. The story introduces the feud between Chris Redfield and Wesker, which is something that if you haven't played the original Code Veronica, and then you played RE5, you were probably confused as to why Wesker was so obsessed with him. Now, I know they don't go that much in depth into that whole thing, but this game does introduce Wesker as a main villain in the entire franchise. Of course, Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 1 Remake already showed how much of a bad guy Wesker is, but I think Code Veronica is very essential if Capcom wants to remake RE5, which seems to be the most logical thing to do right now, especially if you've played the recent Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil 4 and you've witnessed the ending. Now, I believe the next game is going to be RE5 Remake, but here's hoping Code Veronica does happen. For me, personally, I want to see a more survival horror driven gameplay. Something like RE4 it doesn't classify as survival horror to me. It's more like an action shooter with monsters in it. So, going back to the gameplay of RE2 Remake, I think would be a great idea. Now, mind you, it doesn't have to be the same exact thing as RE2 Remake. I know a lot of you guys prefer RE4. So, having a sort of combination of those two things would be ideal for this game. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, back in 2001, I think, or 2002, Code Veronica, when it first came out, it was the in-betweener. So it came out after the original trilogy of 1, 2, and 3, and right before RE4, 5, and 6. So it was sort of stuck in limbo in terms of gameplay. It wasn't classic OG survival horror, but it wasn't action either. So it was kind of its own thing. But of course, it took a lot of inspiration from the original 3 games. In my opinion, this game not only would benefit so much from a remake in terms of story and gameplay, but we need more Claire. Claire had her iconic debut in the original Resident Evil 2, and the remake made her into an amazing character, worthy of the franchise. And I think she needs her own, Leon S. Kennedy moment that he had in RE4. We need Claire's badass moment in the story, I think, in a remake. And Code Veronica would be a perfect match for that. Now, since this game is not a mainline game, mainly it's not a numbered game, so it doesn't have a number attached to it, it can happen pretty much at any point in time in terms of remake. So I don't think Capcom is really looking at when these games happened. They can go back, and they have gone back in time when they released a new game. So that you say, like all those people saying oh, they can't do Code Veronica because it would have happened already because RE4 came out. I don't think that applies. I think Capcom can release any game set in any point in time at any moment. I don't think they're following any rules with that. But yeah, I think Code Veronica would benefit a lot from a remake in terms of adding more lore to what happens with Wesker, Chris, and Claire. And I think it would be a great addition to the more slower paced gameplay. Now, since this game is not a numbered game, it can be anything. Like, it doesn't have to be strictly survival horror, slow paced. They can just, take the opportunity and add some different things. Like, for example, there is a worm enemy in the original Code Veronica that is very big. So they could use that sort of thing and implement it into the remake and have it be a persistent enemy that follows you around or, changes the level, breaks down walls, buildings, and things like that, changing the locations as you progress through the game. Sort of how Mr. X breaks through the wall in RE2 Remake B scenario. Anyway, additionally for Code Veronica Remake, I would love to see more of the palace for sure. It could be another RPD segment where it's much bigger, it has multiple levels, and it has a lot more lore. I mean, the dollhouse, that sounds amazing, right? On paper, the dollhouse. But nope, it was just, 3 or 4 rooms, and then you were done. So I feel like it was a lot of potential wasted with this game. And it somehow still managed to be iconic. So the things are there, the basic things are there. A remake would only make it better, in my opinion. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I want to see a more survival horror aspect of this game, an expanded map, more of the palace, more of the submarine, underground areas, and yes, even Steve. I would love to see what they do with Steve. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. As always, subscribe, leave a like if you've enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. And don't forget, stay safe from fake leaks.